All right. Welcome back to my did tutorials, because I don't look at them as tutorials because I'm showing you what I already did. But yeah, so what you see here is the design that I designed in Silhouette Studio that I'm about to bring to life. So welcome, and hey, let's get to it. So day one, actually what you see me doing here after I'm moving my locks out of the way, because hey, they just try to take the show and take all the shine. I have 2 yards of red satin fabric that I got from Hobby Lobby. So I got this in red, and I also got it in white because we were going for a crimson and white kind of a theme for this graduation stole. And what I'm doing is I'm refolding it, because the way that it was folded when it came from the store wasn't the optimum length for the strips. So it was kind of shorter, but if you fold the fabric the other way, it gave you a longer strip. So that's what I did here. I changed the fold so that I can make the cut to have longer strips for my graduation stole, because you can adjust it if it's too long, but you can't adjust it if it's too short, right? So that's what I'm doing here. I also have this handy dandy ruler. This thing was cool, that I got from Hobby Lobby. It had slits in it, so you can use your rotary blade cutter to cut in between the slits so that your strips are actually come out straight. So what I did was cut off the fray ends of the fabric first, and then I discovered, okay, well, the fabric is longer than this ruler, so let me fold the fabric again so that I can make it make sense, because I can't just cut it, just like that. So I'm folding it again here so that I can get the perfect strip. And then I'm going to cut 6 inches. So it gives you the inches on the side. I'm going to cut this back piece 6 inches, because this will be the back color on the graduation stole. I'm going to cut the back 6 inches, and I'm going to cut the front 4 inches. So the back will be red, the background will be red, and the front of the stole will be white. So I'm cutting out this 6-inch piece. That's what you see here. So yep, that's what that looks like, making sure that it's long enough, and it is. And hey, you never know what could happen, so I'm cutting out a second piece just so I can have it on standby, just in case I mess this one up, you know what I mean? So that's what you see me doing here, just cutting out a second piece so that I can have a backup piece just in case I mess this one up, because hey, things happen, just saying. And then what you're going to also see after I'm done with cutting the red piece, that's when I'm going to refold the white satin so that I can cut the 4-inch pieces for the front of the stole, not sash, the stoles. So yeah, I'm going to put this red fabric up, grab my white fabric, and kind of rinse and repeat that same process, but instead of 6 inches, I am going for the 4 inches. So still have to refold for the length. It's just that the width will be 4 inches instead of 6. Yep, and so once I fold and do that, this is kind of what you're left with. I got 2 pieces of the 4-inch white, and I have 2 pieces of the 6-inch red satin. And then what you see on the left hand side is also the backing. So this is the fusible backing that will go on the back of the white pieces, because I will be embroidering on the white pieces because they're the front part of the graduation stole. So I'm gonna merge these 2 pieces with my handy dandy Cricut, and then I'm going to put them in the hoop and put them on the machine to embroider. When it was time to fuse the backing to the front of the front piece, satin piece, I found it easier to do it, to put the iron on the satin part rather than the backing. And so after I fused those pieces, I had to move my locks out of the way, and as you can see, this is a whole nother day as well. But it's time to actually serge the ends of what would be the front piece of the graduation stole. So we have to, so that's what I'm doing here. And you will actually see here that it looks like some of the fabric is being cut, but actually it's more of the backing and cutting off the frayed pieces of the satin fabric, because That satin fabric actually frays a lot, and so the serging helps get that all into play and to make it all nice and neat so that you can actually embroider on it. So that's what I'm doing here, serging the ends of both sides. So what I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other, and then I'm going to take it to the embroidery machine. So I'm kind of show you what that looks like and how neat that looks after you actually serge it. And that's what it looks like. So now I'm going to hoop the my 5x12 hoop and with some tearaway stabilizer and spray the basing spray on it to put the so that the satin piece stays in place, because I'm floating it, as you can see. Well, when I first started, I floated. And then as I went on, I floated some more, but then I hooped some of it. But this is kind of what it looks like as I'm embroidering on the piece and making it all personalized and all of that stuff. And this is what it came out to look like. After all the embroidering were done, I used the embroidery software to design all of that. All right, and so now we have to attach the back part to the front part. So there's no backing on the red part. There's only backing on the front part because I embroidered on it. But now I'm going to attach the pieces. So first thing you got to do is put the shiny pieces facing each other. So the shiny pieces of the fabric. So once you do that, you line up the sides of the fabric, and you leave a little of the piece of the front fabric out to the side because you want to cut the serging off of it. You don't want the serging to show on the other side once it's all serged together and sewn together. So I'm going to show you what I mean in just a second, but I am actually, if you can look, you can actually see a little bit of the white on the right hand side, like on the far right at the top. You can see the little white piece hanging off the side. I don't have the red piece flush. I have a little of the white hanging off for that reason, so I can cut that off and it doesn't show on the front of the stole. So yeah, I'm done with that side, and you know what we do to one side, we do to the other, and I'm showing you here what I'm talking about. So just making sure that all that's nice and neat, and I can't see any of the serging ends is what I'm checking for here. And then I'm gonna line it up here because I want the red piece and the white piece to be all the same size. So I'm serging off the ends to make that to make each of those pieces match, because the red piece was a little bit longer than the white piece. And now that those match, I can attach them. So I can fold them together, and I can attach the other side of the red piece to the back of to the white piece, to the front white piece. And after everything is done, it's time to invert it. So what you're doing is seeing me flipping it inside out. I mean, as you can see, I was struggling a little bit, but I made it happen. So yes, just pull it through itself, the whole entire thing. And it might take a second, but just be patient and have your patience and be careful not to break any of the stitches that you've done, and make sure not to scrape the fabric too much. So I'm pulling the whole entire thing through, because what I have to do next is take this whole thing to the ironing board and iron it out flat and smooth as I possibly can, to finish it off. And so yeah, once you pull it through itself, I'm almost done here. This is kind of what it looks like, and I'm going to take this to the sewing. I got to clean up a little bit of the loose threads here, but once I do that, I'm going to take it to the ironing board to flatten out the whole thing. And this is what it looks like after that. So I just use my regular iron and I use the steam to get it as flat as possible. Now the only thing I have to do now, because I have the ends of this at the very end are still serged, so I have to kind of fold it into itself, and I'm going to use some fusible backing, the tape. I'm going to use the fusible tape to do that. Yep, so this is what we have as our final product. I thank you all for watching. I really enjoyed doing this tutorial or whatever it is. Hopefully you'll come back for more. And yeah, have a great one.